As you might expect, after more than 20 inches of rain fell across north Louisiana, soybean growers now find themselves significantly delayed by wet ground from Alexandria to Delhi.
As the prime window for planting soybean rapidly closes, growers and researchers alike move quickly when an opportunity strikes to get this year's crop planted. As TWILA's AJ Sabine shows us, even researchers at LSU's Dean Lee Research Station have been stymied by wet weather.
Hundreds of bags of soybean seed sit in a darkened warehouse at LSU's Dean Lee Research Station, ready to be planted. Wet weather here, as well as farming operations across North Louisiana, has delayed planting by at least 2 weeks. LSU soybean specialist Dr. Ronnie Levy explains that too much rain has choked the growth of these young plants.
Right now, everybody is just waiting, biting at the bits, trying to get back in the fields. The rains that we've received at the beginning of this year have really slowed our production, which will have an impact on yields. The later we get planted, typically will have a negative impact on yields. Also will increase some other problems such as insects and diseases. Just a lot of problems with planting late.
Dozens of soybean packets bound for research plots around the state sit idle as Dr. Levy and his team wait for dry ground. Last year, it was so wet that scientists here on the station could not plant until May.
This is number 11, and it's going to the Northeast Research Station. So these will be planted at the different research stations throughout the state. And you can see there's a lot of boxes, so there's a lot of seed. There's approximately 300 seed per package, depending upon, spacings and different plant populations.
In the field, the impact of the wet soil is clearly evident. Soybean plants have a tough time breaking through wet ground. In contrast, these beans planted in early April appear strong. Levy says the focus is now on preserving yields.
Actually, we're 15 bushels lower in the state last year because of the late planting. Hopefully this year we'll start to miss a few of these rains and we'll be able to get planted at least hopefully by the end of the month.
That hope should carry many farmers forward, as many plant what they can when the weather allows them to fire up their planters. As spring slowly settles in the summer, Levy says farmers could rebound with decent yields.
But as we start to warm up and dry up in the spring, if we can get planted during the first to middle part of April, then typically we'll see higher yields. And then we're not quite as concerned about some of those weather conditions late in the season where, we may see hurricane conditions or those tropical storms, in the early fall.
Farmers here in Louisiana planted nearly 1.4 million acres of soybeans across the state last year. If you'd like more information about soybeans or Louisiana production practices, please log on to our website at twilatv.org. And Avery and Kristen, it's remarkable to see how many boxes of potential plantings are stacked up like cordwood at the Dean Lee Research Station.
Well, I know that it's not just an issue for them there at Dean Lee, it's an issue all across the state. We're having rain while we're shooting this show, so it's all across the state. They're getting more wet weather. How does that affect test plots?
Well, as you can imagine, if farmers can't plant their own crop, then these researchers can't plant the test plots. So everything is delayed and compounded by wet weather.
Well, that's going to probably affect the researchers come later on at harvest. Thank you very much, AJ Sabine.